Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about anger and stress and how to deal with them. We get angry so many times in our lives. There's a multitude of obstacles and circumstances and people and just things that come against us that cause us to stress and to become angry. And I'm here to tell you, really, that's not all that necessary. I'm about to go through right now and show you guys exactly why it's not always necessary to let these emotions do things to you. Keep watching. Number one thing you want to do to deal with anger and stress is to ask yourself this one question: does this emotion serve me? So there's nothing wrong with feeling any type of emotion, no matter if it's positive or negative. What you need to understand is there's a total difference between constructive and destructive emotions. So if that emotion serves you, it is constructive. If it does not serve you, it's destructive. A lot of times when we get angry, when we get stressed out, we're like pondering on it. That person made me so mad. Do you see what they did? They did this, they did that. And then you let that anger stay within you even far after the situation has occurred. Like, it could be years later, it could be weeks, months, days, but bottom line is it doesn't serve you at that point. Now here's an example of anger serving you. And I'll give one of my examples. One time I had a professor, right? And I had a simple question. It would have taken like 2 seconds for him to answer it. So another student was in front of me and the guy asked him a question. The professor draws out the whole equation for him. I mean, it goes from one side of the board to another, and it's a really complicated equation. I ask a simple question that can be answered within a few seconds because I hadn't used the software in so long that I just didn't remember how to do it. And he told me, figure it out, that's how you do it. And I was like, oh. And so I got angry, but it served me, and it served me because I used that anger as drive. So I figured it out. And I did more than figured it out. Like I went in depth. I went super in depth to the point where I just impressed everybody in my final presentation. And that's a good way for anger to serve you. And after the fact, I didn't sit around pondering on it. Like, I can't believe he said, like, I didn't sit there and make assumptions as to why he wanted me to figure it out or anything like that. I just used that anger towards the goal. And that's a good way of making that a way for your emotions to serve you. Destructive emotions cause harm to you, not to the people or the circumstances that are causing you these issues, but they cause damage to you. Second thing you want to do when you're feeling this way, you want to figure out, what is this emotion based off of? Is it based off of your circumstances? Is it based off of another person? Is it based off of your past? Is it based off of something that you yourself regret doing or something that you're frustrated with yourself with? You want to figure that out because that is a closer step you'll take to owning and controlling and really choosing which emotions to feel at what time. That's how you can deal with anger and stress anytime, is by really understanding and knowing how to control and choose which emotions to feel that can serve you at that time. So 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to be flat out honest, most people in the world, they base their entire emotional states off of what is going on around them. And that sucks. Why? Because at that point, you were putting your emotions at someone else's mercy, at some circumstances mercy, at your past's mercy. Why would you do that? Don't you want to be at your own control? Don't you want to be able to control yourself and the way you think and the way you feel? Well, you can. So a perfect example of that would be traffic. I know so many people who get so upset when they're in traffic. Like, can you control that? Is traffic a normal thing? Does it happen every day? So why is it that when you get in traffic, all of a sudden you're upset and you're inconvenienced and it's the end of the world? You can totally take advantage of that situation. You listen to a good book, you listen to a good podcast. You could, just get your mind right because you're in still traffic. You're late to whatever you're late to, be it work, a function, an event, a movie, something fun, but okay, traffic is a normal part of life. So to get upset about traffic, really? It's like things that are out of your control, why would you give them the power? Why would you give them the power? to affect your emotions in such a negative way that those emotions no longer serve you. It doesn't make sense, right? So think about it. And think about how those emotions become destructive, because you're screaming and hollering and beeping your horn and getting all red in the face and getting all upset. For what? You can't control it. You can't change it. Chill. Don't just comment down below. Which emotion do you feel more of, anger or stress? Number 3, which is a realization really that you've got to come to. Your emotional pain / strain is directly proportional to your resistance of your reality. So what I mean is, the more resistant you are to what is going on or what happened previously, that is how much emotional pain, that is how much anger, frustration, stress that you will feel. So breakups or not getting something you tried really hard for, be it in an audition or something, right? Or a job, or a group of people didn't think you were good enough to be in their organization or what may have you. So in that moment, you're upset, you're mad. And the more resistant you are to that change, the more resistant you are to the fact that you did not get whatever you tried, or you didn't get that person you wanted to be with, that is the more pain you will feel. That is the more anger in turn and stress you will feel over the long term. And it can last days, weeks, months, years. That's why people still get mad about things that happened way early in their childhood, because their resistance was so strong that it lasted for years. How crazy is that? So with knowing that, number 4 is acceptance. When you accept your reality, that's when the resistance goes away, and in turn the emotion goes away. But it's crazy because most people don't recover from their resistance until they get a replacement for whatever that void or that gap is that was not filled. So if something happened in your childhood way back in the day and you're upset about it, and like let's say a bad breakup or something, and it hurts you for 4 years in a row, and then you finally meet somebody new and they're way better than that other person, and it's like, oh, okay, I fully accepted now that breakup is done. You know what I mean? It's crazy. This is even better. It's like, then you're appreciative. I guess what I'm saying is, it's easy to understand the negative things that happen in your life when you look back on them, because you really see that there's really the negative things that have happened to you have served you and prepared you for something that is better. Nothing is really as negative as you think it is. And number 5, all right guys, this is the last realization I want you guys to come to. Ready for this? You want to understand that your emotional pain is 100% from you. It has nothing to do, and this might blow your mind, but it has nothing to do with what's going on around you. It has nothing to do with the people around you. It has nothing to do with what somebody said or what somebody did or what happened years ago. It is solely based on you. You decide how much emotional pain you're going to go through. If you just lost a loved one, if you're in grief, you decide how long you want to let that affect you mentally. There's nothing wrong with grieving. There's nothing wrong with being stressed out, because it's normal. There's nothing wrong with being angry, but when you let these emotions destroy you from the inside, that's when it's a problem. And you got to understand, you're causing this pain on yourself. Most emotional pain is self-inflicted. What do you do when somebody thinks you're not good enough? You assume why you're not good enough. You think about why they think you're not good enough. So you put all these things on yourself that are negative, that aren't even true. And this way of thinking becomes factual. Like the story you're telling yourself then becomes factual. Oh, this person probably just thinks this, and this about me. And it becomes so factual to the point where you believe that somebody thinks something and they haven't even communicated to you why they don't think you're good enough, or why they rejected you. It could be totally because of them, but because you think this of yourself and you kind of get in your own head, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm a failure. And then you start speaking these negative things into your life until they become a reality. Your emotional pain is because of you. You can't blame anybody on your emotional pain. That's why two people can go through the same exact thing and have two totally different outcomes, two totally different outlooks. That's all I've got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Reggie Bryant. I make videos every single week about personal development, intentional living, and success, and I'd love to have you for the next one. I want you guys to comment down below real quick. Do your emotions serve you? Have a great day, guys.